Is communication the key to a good relationship? Welcome to Philosopher's Corner. I'm John. Is communication the key to a good relationship? A lot of people with wisdom in the area believe that communication is the key to a good relationship. I think it is a key, but I don't think it's the main key. I think the main key to a good relationship is a profound interest in the object of the relationship. Now, in this case, we'll say that it's another person. So having a profound interest in another person. Philosophically, it could be anything. You could want to have a relationship with anything. It can be an object, it can be a concept, it can be anything. The object of the thing that you want to have a relationship with. But we'll talk about it in terms of person to person. So I think having a profound interest in the other person and that being reciprocated, I think that's actually the biggest key to a good relationship. Because from then there, that's what motivates the good communication. The profound interest is what catalyzes and motivates the good communication. Because good communication, which is a key to a good relationship, it for sure is, it's actually subordinate to the profound interest in the other person. You can have good communication with another person whom you don't particularly find interesting, and the relationship could just be not good. It doesn't mean it's bad. It could just be like neutral or non-effective or just whatever. Even though the communication with that person is phenomenal, it could even be like you could have perfect communication with this person, but you just don't have any real interest. No slight, like there's nothing. There's no like intellectual, romantic, sexual, financial, hobby-based, like there's just no real profound interest in the other person, but you have great communication with them. So it's necessary to have a profound interest in the other person for it to be a good relationship, for it to be a strong relationship. Because that's what keeps the relationship going, the frequency of it. And that's what keeps the intention towards each other happening. And that's kind of the key of a relationship, is it's the intention, especially between people. It's the intentions meeting up. If this person and this person, if they have intention towards each other, then that's what causes the connection. And then the connection builds into a relationship, right? And the connection, it's motivated by the intention of the profound interest in the other person. And then the communication is the thing that keeps that bond good. Bearing in mind that communication is not just talky talk. Communication can also be articulate vocal language. It can be emotional exchange. It can be physical exchange. It can be telepathic. It can be through exchange of art, through exchange of resources. You build your own language. And I think that's when a relationship really like goes from being a connection to a relationship, is that you've taken the time to build a language with the other person. But you can really only do that if you have a profound interest in the other person, because it's an undertaking. Building a language with somebody, so there's having good communication with somebody, it's a high bar. It's not super high. As you get better at communicating in a universal manner and respecting people universally, and you can just interact with people from a basic standpoint of everybody that approaches you, you have human dignity and universal principles, and you're just welcoming to meet and communicate with people. Over time, you can have good communication on tap, basically with everybody. But for a relationship, like a real relationship to form, to build a language with a person, that takes time and effort and a profound interest in the other person and them being interested in you. And it takes time, and you got to get to know each other, and you have to incorporate the things that are specific to you guys about how you guys can communicate between one another in a whole person manner. And that takes time, and it's a labor of love, and it has to be fueled by a profound interest in the other person and being reciprocated. Because without that, it's too laborious, and it takes too much time, and you have to go through too much stuff with people to develop the language that you need for the relationship to become indefinite, let's say. And I'm sure we've all had people where we go, oh, that person's a friend for life. And it doesn't mean that you're always going to see eye to eye or heart to heart or whatever with that person for the rest of your existence. But it means that you've gotten to know them well enough, and you've established enough of a language between the two of you that you become aware of their existence, they become aware of yours, you've acknowledged each other's existence, and you develop the language to a sufficient level that sort of have an open door with them no matter what. Even if stuff goes bad, even if they do whatever, even if you do whatever, it goes both ways. We all have people that fit that category for us, that until we die, there's always going to be that open connection to some degree. You can't really ever turn a connection off. That's a whole different discussion. But so the key to a good relationship being this profound interest, which leads to the things that you need for the relationship to continue. The building of a language. I mean, that's really the next biggest thing, because that's how all the exchange occurs. Because really, when we're talking about relationships, we're talking about two people with intention, and at the core of it, if they do it long enough, they're really sharing their essence with each other, sharing their souls with each other. And that's a really beautiful, interesting part of life, because there are infinite ways to do that. And that's where creativity and love and intention really meet. And that's really what creates the good vibes. That's what people enjoy relationships, because then you have good feelings, you have emotional support, you have emotions being exchanged and depended on, and in context of who you are. I think that's really one of the beautiful things about relationships, is that when they're established properly, that people get a chance to have proper context on you. And it doesn't necessarily mean they have to have your full context, because to fully know someone, philosophically, may be impossible. It's hard enough for a person. It's nearly impossible for a person to know themselves completely. It's a very difficult thing to do, rather. You have to achieve self-mastery to do it. So really, in a relationship, we're hoping that people get a really good context, a high percentage context of who we are. And that context also is in the context of the relationship. So if I have an army buddy, he needs to know me in a certain way for that relationship to continue through life, as opposed to my lover, as opposed to an artistic collaborator, as opposed to a sports coach. They don't all need to see the full me. They should have a sense of my humanity, and then they need to be able to see the parts of me that interact with them in their world that is based on those profound interests, and likewise. So, and if we can see each other universally, of course, that's kind of the optimum way to go about it. If we can see each other universally, and then we go from there into the contextual parts of us as individuals and honor our individuality, the relationships end up being a validation of who we are, of our individuality, and of our lives. And that's why there needs to be a deep, profound interest to motivate that. Because until you get to that pay dirt level with somebody, you're just sort of engaged with them in an abstract manner. And we all know when somebody finally sees us and finally connects to us. And there may be no better feeling with that type of validation. And that forms the bonds for love, and that forms the bonds for lasting relationships, and all the beautiful things in life that happen with collaboration with other people who are living in the dream with us. So is communication the key to a good relationship? It's one of the keys. I think a deep, profound interest is more of a key. It drives all the other things. Well, I've enjoyed communicating with you here at Philosopher's Corner. I feel like we have a relationship here, and we're exploring our universal nature as human beings together and sharing some space, and it's always an honor. And I hope you find it helpful, and then keep coming back and enjoying yourself. And obviously, I love what I'm seeing in the comment section. I've seen so many intelligent people, so many intelligent comments. I feel like it's great to see on the internet a space where people can be intelligent and speak their minds, and it's just straightforward. And so thanks for coming by and spending time here. It's awesome. And as always, have fun.